Well, the Supreme Leader is Iran's highest authority. He's chosen by the Assembly of Experts. That's 88 clerics who are elected by the public every 8 years. There's always been much speculation over who the next Supreme Leader might be. Ayatollah Khamenei himself was a surprise choice and not one of the frontrunners at the time. Now he needs to be replaced. Here are some of the potential candidates. Mujtaba Khamenei is Ayatollah Khamenei's second eldest son. While he holds no formal position, he wields immense influence. He was a top aide to his father and said to have strong ties to the Revolutionary Guard. But he would be a controversial choice, seen as a hereditary handover. Alireza Arafi is the director of Iran's religious seminaries and Friday prayer leader of Qom, the country's seminary capital. Khamenei had repeatedly appointed him to senior positions. Mohammad Mahdi Moghareri is a ultra-hardline cleric and key figure in the front of Islamic Revolution stability political groups. Gholam Hossein Mohseni Ejei is also a potential candidate. He's been Iran's Chief Justice since 2021. And finally, Hassan Khamenei, the grandson of Ayatollah Khamenei, the first Supreme Leader. He's a reformist and a prominent political figure in Iran. Well, Al Jazeera's correspondent Resul Serdar has reported extensively from Iran. He joins us in the studio now to unpack the latest developments. So, confirmation the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. Tell us what impact this is now having on the country and what's this likely to do in terms of where the war goes from here, from Iran's military response.
I think here, at the end of the day, regardless of his death, Iranians have been quite clear that even if the U.S. strikes are limited, Iran's response is going to be like a full-fledged war. And the reason for that is there has been lots of Iranian policymakers that believe that after October 7th, 2023, Iran's response to the escalation of the U.S. and Israel has always been de-escalation, and that has encouraged further attacks on Iranian assets across the region, in Lebanon, in Syria, and then finally in the country last June. And so the belief is that, so from now on, there is nowhere to go. And we have to respond with our full military might to reestablish our deterrence. That's why now they are going to mobilize all of their capabilities and capacities. Whether it's going to be enough really to put a deterrence there or not is a different case, because we know that Iran has very limited resources as well. It's a country that is tremendously struggling from the lack of the economic resources. However, now that the head of the state is killed, and not only as head of state as a political position, but it's also a theological position for the Shia Muslims in the world. So, and that head of the theological position, who is believed to be the representative of the hidden imam that's going to come at the end of the time, bring the justice to the world. So Iranians are going to respond with their whole capacity, with their full military capabilities. That is quite clear. To reestablish the deterrence and also to make sure that the next leader is not going to be targeted.
So let's talk briefly about the Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. How will they affect the election of the new Supreme Leader, Resul? Because they're a hugely influential body, aren't they?
Indeed, indeed. So Revolutionary Guards have been formed through the Iran-Iraq War, which has started in 1980 and then ended in 1988. So then, when Ali Khamenei actually has been elected as the new Supreme Leader, one of the institutions that he has invested heavily and also trusted heavily is the Revolutionary Guard. So simply, it was a symbiotic relationship between them. So he was feeding the Revolutionary Guards, and the Revolutionary Guards were giving him the power. So this mutual relation between the two have enhanced both parties tremendously. Now the Revolutionary Guards are controlling 1/3 of the country's economy. They're controlling the intelligence, they're controlling the banking, oil, gas, mining industries. And they are extremely powerful when it comes to the political decision-making processes. So just a little bit ago, you have run some of the names like Hassan Khamenei, some Ejei, and some of the other names that potentially could be the successor of Ali Khamenei. So I will say, well, actually, the next leader is going to be IRGC. Because in 1989, In 1989, when Ali Khamenei has been elected as the supreme leader of the country, there were no revolutionary guards that much powerful yet. They were still taking a shape. And so he was elected by civilians relatively. But now, whoever is going to be put forward, we can be sure that is going to come from the revolutionary guards.
Let's just talk about these succession plans, Resul, if we can, because the Islamic Revolution, as we've been talking about all morning, is deeply embedded in the politics of the country, the institutions, the society. Now that the Supreme Leader is dead, talk us through the system, the constitution, and how that succession plan plays out.
Look, normally Iran has three bodies that are running the country. So the government, legislative, and the judiciary. But in Iran, particularly after the election of Ali Khamenei 37 years ago, he has also built tremendous numbers of the councils that in many cases are more powerful than the government, the parliament, the judiciary, and they act independently. They directly report to the supreme leader. So this is, on one hand, to make sure that there is a check and balance in the system, but it's also because there is the lack of trust between the institutions. So let's remember, Iran is a security state. So, and one of that powerful councils is the Assembly of Experts. That's its primary reasons of the existence is to elect the supreme leader of the country. And it's 88 members political body. So this political body is going to come, and these are just all the religious figures, and they're going to put the names and discuss on that, and then it's going to be elected. In that sense, actually, it's a selection, not an election, because it's not going through the popular vote of people. So there will not be the ballot boxes and asking Iranians who you want to see as your next leader. So it's going to be 88 people who have been vetted by the Guardian Council, another council, and these guys are going to come and select that. But up until that time, there will be a new council including the president, the head of the judiciary, and also one member of the Guardian Council. Three people are going to run the country for an interim period of time until the Assembly of Experts come up with a final name.
Resul, talk to us about Ali Khamenei's life and what sort of legacy he leaves behind. I mean, let's remind our viewers, he was loved and adored by everyone in Iran, given the sanctions, the wars, the social turmoil that's hit this country over many, many years now.
Indeed, he was an extremely controversial figure. So throughout his tenure, we have seen that he has been loved and, by the way, admired by millions of people, but also hated by some other millions. So in that sense, he was a controversial figure. One thing should be kept in mind. He is the builder and the architect of the modern day Iran. Any state institutions, particularly their strategic institutions, any security apparatuses that you can imagine, and also any individual now, the senior individuals in the country that are running the state's affairs, have been either formed, built, or appointed by Ali Khamenei. So in that sense, he's the founding father of the modern Iran. On the other hand, one thing has made him different than the previous one. So the first supreme leader of Iran was Khomeini, Ayatollah Khamenei, who was regarded as a charismatic leader. And when Ali Khamenei has been elected, he knew that he lacks that charisma. So what he has done was to enhance the security apparatuses and to rely on them. So he enhanced the state, but at the cost of people. And that has created a gap between people and the state. So a kind of lack of communication. So the divergence of the positions between people and the government. And that has been the source of the tensions. So that's why, by the time, he has been more and more unpopular in Iran.
All right, Resul, many thanks for your analysis. We'll obviously come back to you later on throughout the morning.